Okay, so 3 ways to improve self-awareness. This month, the theme is emotional intelligence, which is my special interest. So I'll be making one video every week covering the 4 quadrants of emotional intelligence. And the first one is self-awareness. So self-awareness is essentially the ability to recognize your own emotions and to notice what's going on in your body in a way that can allow you to be aware of what you're feeling at any given time. So one of the reasons that self-awareness is so important, especially for people on the spectrum, is that self-awareness is the ability to honestly know yourself better than anyone else knows you. So I seem to function a little bit differently to the people around me, and having self-awareness allows me to confidently say, I know what's going on for me, even when it doesn't look like that on the outside. And that has really saved me in a couple of situations where there has been a mistake and I've been assured that there has not been a mistake. And I say, no, trust me, I know that that is not my results. Like there was one time the doctor brought up the wrong results and I said, no, that cannot possibly be me. And she said, yeah, everybody says that. Everyone is surprised by their own results. I'm like, no, that is not me. That cannot possibly be me. I am very sure of this thing. And 10 minutes later, we found she actually had made a mistake. She'd pulled up the wrong file. And imagine if I hadn't picked that up and I hadn't known that that was the case for me. So the opposite of that, and I hear this a lot from people, is the experience that everyone else seems to know how I feel before I know. And by the time it finally registers with me, the damage is already done, the words have already been said, and it's very, very difficult to backtrack from there. An example of that is if I'm really grumpy or if I'm really angry, I've had a hard day at work, I'm frustrated with a particular colleague, for example. If I don't realize my frustration, I might take out that frustration on my housemate or my mother or the poor shop attendant who didn't do anything to cause my frustration. But if I'm in that mood and I don't know it, I might be acting out of that mood in an inappropriate way. And finally, I would say self-awareness is the difference between feeling bad and feeling overwhelmed and having no idea what's going on or why I'm like this and being really confused and powerless in the situation, compared to I'm still feeling really bad, but I know what's happening and I've felt this feeling before and it's okay because I know what to do to get out of this situation or I know how to respond to it. So for me, that's why self-awareness is such an important skill. And in terms of emotional intelligence, it's the one skill that all of the other skills are based on. So they all rely on getting this right so that you can move on to the next level. Okay, so the 3 ways I'll be sharing today of how to improve your self-awareness are paying attention, especially to your body, learning how to name what you feel, and recording what you notice. So when I say pay attention, what it means is just noticing the physical sensations in your body. So if I'm going to do that right now, I will notice that I feel a little bit full in my stomach because I probably had too much lunch. This is a little bit scratchy around here. It's a little bit tight on my right side. Little things like that might be something as simple as, oh, my fingers are cold. Oh, my elbow hurts because I smashed it against the wall by accident yesterday. And this paying attention to the body is the first step towards just noticing what's going on. We can sometimes tell when other people are emotional, right? Like if someone's happy or someone's sad, if a baby's crying, you can clearly see that something's wrong. So this is a little bit similar in that when I see that a child is crying, I know that something's wrong because of the action and because of what I see. So the only way I'm going to know that something is happening for me is if I notice the feeling. And then once I notice that feeling, then I can start to try and put a name to it. And the purpose of putting a name to it is to start recognizing when feelings are familiar. So I might start off with a description. Oh, maybe my stomach's churning a little bit. I'm not really sure what that means. And then eventually I'll just label that as hunger. And then every time that I feel that, I can give it a name saying, oh, I'm feeling hungry again today. I felt hungry this time yesterday. Maybe it's because I haven't had lunch yet. So a good way to start naming is to just describe the sensation that you're paying attention to, and then start to put a word to it that means something to you. So this word doesn't need to be something that someone else would understand. I could say, I'm feeling climby today. And yes, I made up a word. And so long as I know what that means, and so long as I can recognize the physical sensations that I'm calling that word, then I'm going to recognize this every time it happens to me. And the reason I'm emphasizing this personal meaning to the name is because we don't necessarily need to use words. You could use drawings, you could use music, you could use sounds, you could use actions, you could use anything that you want that is kind of like a unique identifier, literally a name, that you associate with whatever you're feeling in your body. And then by recording that every day, which is my third suggestion, you're kind of doing two things. The first one is just practicing paying attention and giving it a name, because you have to do these things in order to write down whatever the name is. Maybe it's a picture or a piece of music or something. And the second thing that you're doing is you're creating, also creating a habit of doing this on a regular basis, but you're also creating a record that can help you to remember later, okay, so every day this week I've felt a certain thing. And it helps to try and understand why you're feeling this way, which is leading us to the second quadrant of emotional intelligence, which is self-regulation. So once I know what I'm feeling, I can start to ask the next question of why am I feeling it? And therefore, what can I do about feeling something different or managing it in a better way? So that's been a quick summary of why self-awareness is important and 3 ways to improve self-awareness. Obviously, I can only really scratch the surface in a couple of minutes of video, but if you're keen to go deeper and work on improving your own self-awareness skills, we dedicate an entire week of the 4-week emotional intelligence course to this subject. So if that's something you're interested in, you can check out the entire course at emotionsexplained.com.au, and I'll leave a link in the description as well. So thanks for watching this first video on my special interest of emotional intelligence, and I'll see you next week for the second quadrant of managing our own emotions. Okay, bye. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe for weekly content just like this one. If you'd like to get even more involved, you can join the discussion on social media or support me by becoming a patron. Finally, I value your time, and you'll notice all my videos are ad-free. So please help me to cover what you want to hear by leaving me a comment and telling me what you think. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you another time.